Well, hello. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Sheri Kling, and on this Deeper Rhythm channel, I talk about how to listen for the deeper rhythm of your own life, mostly focusing on dreams, spirituality, and transformation. Now, if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and share, and when you subscribe, hit the little bell so that you get all the notifications. And there are links in the description below to register for upcoming events and to connect with me for one-on-one spiritual coaching and dream work, so I encourage you to check that out. Now, the question we're asking today is, what is a good life? In my recent video on trauma, brokenness, and wholeness, I said that I thought that American culture is broken. And the main reason I believe this is true is because we who currently live in the U.S. are deeply and painfully divided. Can we not feel this to be true in our bones? In my doctoral dissertation, which became the book A Process Spirituality, I opened the first chapter with a series of questions. How often do we experience a general sense of personal contentment? How often can we say we bask in the glow of family love and support? Can we equally express strength and vulnerability, uniqueness and connection, and deeply relate in intimate ways with our closest loved ones? How frequently do we enjoy the company of friends and neighbors and the joy of fellowship and good food shared at a common table? Are we easily able to name 3 to 4 close friends or family members that we know will have our backs when times get tough? How regularly do we, along with the neighbors in our broader communities, feel the satisfaction of meaningful work done well? Can we survey the communities in our state and know that they all have equal access to nutritious food, clean water and air, good education, and to the natural world that is essential to the flourishing of human life? Are we and our neighbors regularly able to appreciate and be inspired by the aesthetic beauty and value that's reflected in both human-created art and also in our interactions with non-human beings like birds and wildlife, even our pets? Can we voice our complaints and our convictions and know that we have the power to change what ails us individually and communally? And then I asked, is answering yes to each of the questions above not the very definition of what it means to be human, whole, and to flourish individually and communally? Now, I certainly can't speak for everyone in the U.S., but the characteristics that we would find to be true about our lives if we could answer yes to those questions are not those that I witness regularly in our broader culture. Now, we've all just been through a hellish year where we've seen hundreds of thousands of people in the U.S. alone die from a virus that has rampaged through this world since last winter. We've had to be away from our friends and family in times when we needed them most. Many people have had to die alone in hospital beds or nursing homes without anyone they love to hold their hand. We've been unable to go to work, and many of us have lost our jobs. We've watched small businesses shut their doors in our cities and towns, and we see people out of work and now facing losing their homes. The devastation has been and continues to be a nightmare. Now, one of the things that made me smile during this time was watching John Krasinski give us some good news on YouTube. I really wish he hadn't stopped doing that. And what made me smile was seeing how families and friends became so creative together in finding ways to occupy their time. They invented games and created videos together and made music and did all kinds of things that I know made them closer. I moved to where I live now in Tennessee in the summer of 2017 for a job at the university here. And I've actually held 2 different jobs since that time and have enjoyed the work that I've done and the people that I've met. But the truth is, I have not been able to make the kind of community that I really need and crave. I'm single and I live with only my 2 dogs and 1 cat. And I love them all dearly. And I'll tell you, I'd hate to think what my life would be like if I didn't have them. But let's face it, they're not really good conversationalists. And I miss my friends and I miss the people that I love. Times like we're in now, I think, lead us to ask questions that we may not have asked before. In really hard times, we tend to ask about the deeper aspects of life. What does it mean to be human? What is sacred? Who are our real friends? What is a good life? I watched a really interesting program on Netflix the other night called The Minimalists, Less Is Now. It featured 2 guys named Joshua Fields Millburn and Ryan Nicodemus, whose lives were changed for the better when they pared down the stuff that cluttered their lives to focus on what really meant something. On their website, they write this: minimalism is not interested in what you have. You can buy the best bag, bookcase, boots, but none of that will fill the void. And minimalism is not concerned with what you don't have. Look, Ma, no things. Because owning nothing doesn't remove the void. Minimalism is not busy with doing something. Decluttering, organizing, and paring down don't work unless you first find peace in doing without. And minimalism is not focused on becoming something. Job titles and achievements merely generate a thirst for more. Instead, they say, a minimalist focuses on being someone who returns to the natural order, to the default state of thriving with less. Let me say that again. Instead, they say, a minimalist focuses on being someone who returns to the natural order, to the default state of thriving with less. Don't we all want to be part of the natural order? Don't we all want to be in alignment with the deeper rhythms of our own lives and discover what is sacred about our own life? Don't we all struggle with that void that Joshua and Ryan talk about? Don't we all try to avoid thinking about that empty space inside of us that just needs to be loved? I don't know about you, but I have really struggled during this holiday season. I found out I was losing my job last March, right before the pandemic hit, and it ended at the end of September. So I've been looking for my new pathway for 10 months now. And I'm sure you can appreciate how hard it is looking for new work when everything is shut down and no one knows what the future is going to bring. Now, when we went into this, social distancing mode back in the spring, I joked that social distancing to avoid the virus wasn't really that much different from my single life in this little town where I live. So I've been super lonely. And now the anxiety is rising as I'm still in such a place of scary uncertainty. And I'm sure there are many of you out there who can relate to that. That's why I thought of those questions that I started this video with when I woke up this morning. And I thought to myself, what is a good life? What do I really want and need in my life? Do I need more stuff? No. Do I need a flashy car or a huge house? No. What I want and need is to belong. What I want is community, fellowship, laughter, art, music. when I go through those questions that I started with, these are the broader categories that I think are pointed to in them. What I think are the things that make a good life well lived. Personal contentment, family love and support or intimacy with our loved ones, expressing strength and vulnerability and uniqueness and connection, I would describe as authenticity, about being able to be real, to have integrity, and to be respected. Fellowship with good friends and neighbors at a shared table of good food and community again. A network of support during tough times. Meaningful work. Access to nutritious food that is healthy for our bodies, and to clean water and air. These are the basic needs of life. And to have shelter, to have a home we can go home to. Good education. Access to the natural world and the ability to move around in it as much as we're able, to get some exercise, to keep ourselves as fit as we can. Having access to the arts and to beauty, and to creating art, not just to consuming the art that others create. And finally, civic involvement and empowerment to speak out and to change what isn't working, to create safe neighborhoods where we can all thrive. For me, these are the things that make up a good life. Now, you may have a few others. I may have even forgotten a few of my own. But I think these are the elements of being truly human. And I'm not saying this is necessarily the list for every single person in the world. But boy, I think a lot of people would agree with that list. These are the elements, like I said, of just being truly a human being and living a good life. Now, there's a movie called The Village by M. Night Shyamalan that I really love. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, because it has quite a twist in it. Now, it's not the twist that's as good as in A Sixth Sense that he also did, which I think was like the best twist I've ever seen. But it's a good twist in The Village as well. And I've thought ever since I've seen that movie that sometimes I just want to go back in time and live a simpler life. Now, of course, I can't go back in time. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't really want to do that anyway, for a lot of reasons. But I often think about how our lives would be different if we prioritized the things that I've listed here as essential to a good life. What if communities went back to creating their own art and music? And not just in the big cities where we have those kinds of things. I'm talking about in the little towns too. What if we grew and shared the fruits of the earth more together? What if we made many of the goods that we need within our own communities? I think if communities of people spent like 50% of their income buying goods and services directly from their neighbors, I don't think we'd have any unemployment ever. Now, if there's anything good that has come out of this past year, and believe me, we may have to stretch to think what that is, maybe this time will encourage us to think more creatively about what we really want. Maybe being surrounded by so much death will show us how we really want to live. Maybe we'll give some thought to what is really meaningful and about what brings us true joy, not just a temporary rush. So over the course of the next few weeks, I think I'm going to talk about each of those categories, each of those elements of a good life, dig in a little bit deeper, maybe look for some examples of how those things are being prioritized in other places. Maybe I can help inspire us to build the kinds of lives we really want and the kinds of communities that may actually help us all to flourish. So if you'd like to access some of the deep dive videos that I've created on other topics, then click on the link below and you'll get to my on-demand video library. And also you can register for one of my upcoming Dream Divina contemplative dream workshops, where I help you kind of dive deep into one of your own dreams to find and discover what it might be trying to teach you. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one to discover more about your dreams and your spiritual journey and about transformation and wholeness, then also go to the description for those links. You can also become a patron of this channel and of my work, which I greatly appreciate. And so, until next time, may your dreams be fruitful and your journey be joyful.